Mike versus the world this edition. Is there any chance in heck, Mike, that that Alabama should get back into the playoff? Right now, obviously, they are kind of outside looking at a number 8, a lot of chaos potentially looming in front of them. I think the committee always loves to have an Auburn back in the situation. Alabama, I keep doing that. So, should Alabama be back into the playoff, Mike? The word
Yes.
should is interesting. Should
Right.
they? No.
Right.
But I think there absolutely will be an effort to try to get them back into that college football playoff. So I'm gonna go on the yes of the should side, and I'm
Okay.
gonna say here's the thing, right? Everything is usually more exciting when Alabama's involved, right? You always want
Should
that
season.
David
Yes.
Goliath
Should.
situation. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, they should get back in the playoff.
Okay. Nope.
Obviously, we know they're a talented team. We know they have the
Yep.
talent to compete with all the rest of these
We
teams
know
up here.
that. Yep.
I don't know if anybody else will really hold on to those spots. Michigan, Ohio
Mm.
State, they're going to cancel each other out. Does anybody really trust TCU? If Georgia curb stomps LSU, what if Notre Dame beats USC? Who else actually at that point is more deserving? I guess you can maybe say a Clemson team, but I think the committee will look at an Alabama and say, there's talent on that roster. They got hit by a buzzsaw on that Tennessee offense that one day. LSU was kind of a weird, fluky, last minute 2 point play away from winning. They still have a chance to actually beat Tennessee. I
Nope.
think we always forget that
Yep.
too. By the way, they
Well,
didn't get
yeah,
blown
but
out. They had a
I
chance. If
know.
that kid misses a field goal, it's a different story. So I
Yep,
think the
they do.
committee will look at that. If all those other things break, and they'll say yes, Alabama should be a team that's in the playoff, even with all those losses, even to the fact that we left them for dead. I think the committee would want them back in the playoff. So I guess I'll say yes, they should get back in the playoff
Yeah,
if
and I'll
all
say
of those
no.
things in
No.
front of them break the right way.
And I'll tell you why I say no. Because the Tennessee loss doesn't look as good right now. South Carolina drilled them. So, that was a great loss. If it was a one-loss Tennessee team, top 5, top 6 team, great. It's not. It doesn't look as good. The other thing is you can't stub your toe twice. I know they've lost 2 games by a total of 4 points, okay? But the bar is high for the playoff. You can't get in as a 2-loss team, especially when you don't even win your own division. And the team that won the division, we're assuming if Alabama does get in, LSU has to lose to Georgia because there's no way Alabama's getting in if LSU loses.
Correct.
So that team that loses in the SEC championship game gets eliminated because they get to the SEC championship game. So instead, you're going to backdoor and allow a team with less losses to go to the playoff. Now, it happened with Ohio State and Penn State, of course, in 2016. Should have never happened. And that was a 1-loss, 2-loss situation. This is a 2-loss situation where there would have to be, to me, an exponentially large amount of ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's
for
my
them to
that's my
get.
argument
Yeah, but you're
is
talking total chaos. You're talking
all
like
that stuff has to happen. I'm not saying right now as
okay.
is if everybody
So
wins
let's
out. I'm
say
not saying TCU
well,
you're out, Alabama you're in,
well,
right?
let's say TCU loses 1 game. Let's say Clemson finishes the season with 1 loss. You're
Yeah.
saying take Alabama over those teams? I
TCU,
agree. I
yes,
agree
because
on Michigan. Michigan played nobody. They don't deserve anything. If they win out, they can get in great. But if they lose to Ohio State even by a point, they're out. Your schedule sucks. But TCU and Clemson as 1-loss teams. USC is
okay,
1-loss
you're
teams.
asking me if what I would do, and I would not put Alabama in there. But what I'm doing is
But the
I'm
should
channeling the committee. I'm channeling
should
the committee, and I think the committee will
should.
say, let's not forget, Michael J. Farrell, that this is a television product, and I want the
Yeah.
best teams I can have in there. And I'm going to say, wait, am I going to take a TCU team that they beat a cute little Kansas State team, and they did this and did that, or do I want the juggernaut that is Alabama? I think if
Uh,
you're looking at that function, I think that's where
yeah.
Alabama gets the should element. And I'm
Okay.
not saying it's fair or it's right. I'm just
Should
saying
so
if I'm the
based on
committee,
a
I'm saying the
business
committee would look
decision.
at that. It would
So
be
should
yes.
based
You know
on
what?
not on merit
Yes.
on a business decision is what you're
Correct.
saying.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that. Listen, on a business decision, we shouldn't even look at the rankings. Uh,
Well, some would argue
put
we don't.
Alabama. True, but put Alabama in there. Put Michigan or Ohio State in there. Put Georgia in there, and then screw TCU and USC. Nobody watches West Coast football. Nobody cares about the Horned Frogs. Let's jam in LSU or Clemson, or maybe we even jam in a 3-loss Notre Dame. From a business standpoint, that makes sense. But from a should, the only team on
No.
earth to me
Merit
that
based? No, not merit based. I think
well,
there's no
yeah,
argument you can make that unless again
well
total
that's
chaos happens 1 through 7. Then
But
maybe we talk
I
about
don't
that.
even like the discussion of should simply because, the only 2-loss team
Use your
I
word,
see
though.
in the world that doesn't win their division that would possibly ever get in is Alabama. Even Ohio State, when they didn't win their division and they got in ahead of Penn State, they were a 1-loss football team. That 1 loss happened to be against Penn State, but there was a 1-loss team. But the only team in the country that would ever talk about getting in as a 2 loss non-division winner, non-conference winner is Alabama, and they shouldn't. They just shouldn't. Just because they're Alabama, just because they've been great. This is not supposed to be based on the past. So I'm going to be vehemently saying no, they should not get in. We both agree, I think merit-wise, that they don't deserve to get in, and I think we both agree that they're not going to get in.
Correct.
But I don't think they should get in. I just don't. Business, otherwise, screw it. This is why we need
On,
an expanded playoff.
on merit, no. On politics, yes.
And this is why we need an extended playoff, because you can get Alabama in with a 12-team playoff, and they could be a two-loss team. They could be locked into playoff right now if they beat Auburn. That's why we need an expanded playoff. But in 4, no.